Salams and welcome. A short lesson for the Gen Z generation, for the youth. These are the three qualities of Satan or ShayTaan or the devil. We must remember we are on earth in competition with Satan. So there's three things that you must avoid. It's a simple word. Just think of it as the word ACE. A, C, and E. Okay? ACE is very simple to remember. Ace of cards, or if you're playing tennis, if you hit a nice hard shot, it's called an ace. So AC is very. A stands for arrogance. C stands for comparison, and E stands for envy. So these are the qualities of Satan. So Satan is arrogant, Satan does comparison, and Satan is very jealous. So what we need to do is that we need to move away from these qualities. So instead of arrogance, we need to be humble. Instead of comparison, we need to be tolerant and accept ourselves, must have good self-esteem. And instead of being envious of others, we must be happy for them. Right. Now, how did all of these things come about? When God Almighty created, God Most Merciful created Adam, created the first human being. Okay. God blew into him his spirit. Now, God created human beings from clay. It's a mixture of sand. God took sand and he took water, and that is why the proportion of our human body is made up of 70% water and 30% organic matter, right? 30-70 ratio. And if you look at the globe of the earth, it's the same ratio. 70% of the oceans, 70% of the earth is made up of water, and 30% is the land mass, the continents. So the earth is made up of 70% water and 30% sand, and our body is made up of 70% water and 30% sand, because we are created from sand. So God was merciful, a supreme, super intelligent, super intelligent creator. Super intelligent. He took sand. Imagine just sand. Go outside today and take some sand and put water inside. Can you try and make it come alive? Impossible. No scientist can make sand come alive. Okay, but God Most Merciful took sand and took water, and from that sand and water, he created a magnificent creature called a human being. So he created this human being called Adam, the runner prototype of human beings. Then God in his mercy blew into him his spirit. No one has got the spirit of God. So when God blew into him his spirit, he became alive. That is life. So even though scientists talk about evolution, I'm an evolutionist myself. I'm a doctor, I'm a scientist, and I study evolution. But I'm also, I love religion. I'm a sincere, honest Muslim, and I try my level best, even though I make mistakes. But I say, La ilaha illallah, right? So that's my commitment. I'm a Muslim, even though I've studied evolution. But I can tell you for a fact that many scientists will talk about evolution. They'll talk about creation. They'll say, no, God does not exist. I say, absolutely, God exists. I say, absolutely, yes. Because scientists say, just as Darwin makes a mistake. I mean, he's a human being. 200-300 years ago, he said, no, the origin of species. So people, unfortunately, they've been distracted by Darwin. But even if you go back down the evolutionary tree, if you go back to the first multicellular organism, the very first multicellular organism is found in Australia 4.2 billion years ago. In Western Australia, I think it's in Shark Bay, or Shark Cove or Shark Bay, 4.2 billion years ago. But even if you go further back to a unicellular organism, no scientist can tell you how did life originate. That is a enigma. Experiments have been done in labs, but not to the prototype condition that was existing 13.8 billion years ago when the universe was created, or 4.8 billion years when the earth was created, or even 11 kilometers down in the Mariana Trench, which is 33,000 feet deep in the ocean. There's no lightning there. So the reason why we cannot understand how life originated. Origin of species are different. Yes, species, we have mutation of species, we have changing of species. Species evolve into different types depending on challenges in the environment. That's understandable. I got no problem with that. But the spark of life, that came from God. So God took sand and water and he gave Adam the spark of life. Put him into his spirit, he became alive. And then he taught him everything. He gave him the concept of, he taught him the names of everything. It means he gave him the ability for language. Language is fabulous. So in the brain of Adam, which means in my brain, in your brain, God put in Every known dictionary in the world, millions of dictionaries are in the brain of Adam. Adam can speak any type of language, and it doesn't mean you'll know 100 languages. Let me just clarify what I'm saying. If you take a child from America, a baby from America, who grows up speaking English from the parents, but if you take that same child, instead of growing up speaking English, you put the same child in Russia, that baby will grow up speaking Russian. But if you take the same child from America who was supposed to speak English and you put that same baby in China, that baby will grow up learning Chinese. In that way, you can take a baby anywhere, you can put that baby in any country in the world with any family. There's more than 10,000 different languages. That baby will grow up learning that language. Why? Because it is already built in. That hidden language is already inside the brain. So we are born with 10,000 different languages in our brain, but depending on which home we are brought up in, if English is our main language, then the other 9,900 languages, they just disappear. The brain doesn't need it anymore, so the brain then just focuses on English. But when a baby is born, the baby is ready to learn any language. The baby can even learn computer language, sign language. Every subject on earth is a different language. Can learn radiology, can learn anatomy, can learn physiology, can learn botany, can learn pharmacology, can learn astronomy, can learn whatever subject there is on the face of the earth. So God then made this fabulous creature. The main thing about this creature is the intellect. God gave him a fabulous intellect and the ability to seek knowledge. And this ability to seek knowledge made human beings totally different from any other creature on the face of the earth. Other creatures, even the angels, don't have the ability to seek knowledge. Yes, an angel is perfect. Angel will do exactly what God tells that angel to do. But an angel is not curious. An angel won't say, let me do some Google research, or I'm going to go to the library. Angel won't do that. But a human being will do that. A human being will say, okay, that looks like a desert. Let me dig there. Maybe I'll find oil. A human being will do that. Or a human being will say, okay, that's a river there. Maybe there's some diamonds there. So a human being will do, because human being is curious. Human being is inventive. So God is given God is given a fabulous intellect, which is a self-learning intellect. The human being learns by himself. He seeks knowledge. And because God gave him such a fabulous intellect, there's no other creature. This is God's masterpiece. Masterpiece. Human being is the masterpiece of God, the pinnacle of that creation. And because of that, God then presented Adam to all the angels. How many angels are there? Trillions. We cannot count it. Quadrillions, trillions upon trillions. They're all lined up. All the angels. Now God said, right, come, I will now show you this amazing creature that I have created with this fabulous brain and this fabulous ability for language and this fabulous way of having this curious nature. And God then told all these trillions of angels, you now bow down. Because the angels are not allowed to bow down to anybody. They only bow down to God. You must remember that. But when God gives the instruction to the angel that today, only for the first time in your life, you bow down to this thing called Adam, this human being. You bow down to him. Why? You're not bowing down to the sand and water. No, you are bowing down to the intellect and to the spirit that God breathed into it. So basically, you are bowing down to this great, magnificent brain that God has put into this human being. So all the trillions of angels, they bowed down to acknowledge that the brain is the most amazing thing in the entire universe. There's nothing that can compare to the brain. And because of that, trillions of angels bowed down to this brain that is in the brain of Adam. Except one. His name is Satan or ShayTaan. He refused. He said, why? Why must I bow down? He's a very intelligent person. He can confuse you. He can get into your subconscious brain. So he's very intelligent. He said, why must I bow down? Imagine, trillions are bowing down. Imagine the king is telling you, everyone stand up. One person will say, why must I stand up? What must I stand up for? Imagine everyone is standing up and you sitting there. The bodyguards will say, what's wrong with you? The royal advisor, the king will come to you and say, what's wrong with you? You're not obeying the command. So it takes guts to refuse the command in the court of a king. Now imagine the court of God, Most Merciful. You're refusing a command. Hey, you need guts for that. You really need guts for that. You need courage. You either there's something cuckoos here or there's something super intelligent or something super crazy. In Afrikaans, they say you need veel pluck. You need pluck and you need fail pluck to do that. So ShayTaan, he said, no, Satan said, I'm not going to bow down. Imagine you telling your creator, you telling the king, I'm refusing your command, I will not bow down. Why? There were three things. Firstly, as I said, arrogance. I'm not going to bow down. So he's got a quality of, so Satan got a quality of arrogance. I'm not going to bow down. He's arrogant. Magroor, arrogant. Then he's got comparison. He say, this creature you created, fine, everyone is bowing down to this creature. He's made out of sand and water. But me, you created me from fire. Fire is better than sand and water. Sand and water is nothing. I'm fire. So there's comparison. He's comparing to say, this creature is nothing. I am better. I'm made out of fire. Right? So in life, don't become arrogant. Must be always humble and have good manners. Humility and good manners is the best thing in life. And secondly, comparison. Don't say, oh, that person got a bigger house than me, or that person got better clothes than me, or that person got a better laptop than me, or that person got better Nike shoes than me. Avoid comparison. Otherwise, if you compare every time, it's to damage your self-esteem. And that's what I'm talking to the Gen Z. Don't allow peer pressure. Peer pressure is comparison. So don't allow peer pressure to confuse you about what is good in life. And social media is full of peer pressure. So don't allow comparisons in social media. Otherwise, you're going to be a follower of Satan. If you're going to succumb to peer pressure, then you're going to lose yourself in life. And the third point is envy. Satan was jealous. He said, why did all these angels bow down to this human being? They should have bowed down to me. Why? Because he's arrogant. I'm the one they should have bowed down to. You see, so when you pull out your chest, you got envy. So what happens when you're envious? Envious means Satan now is going to drag you down. Because you are chosen by God. God has chosen you. God has said you are a special human being. So don't allow Satan to drag you down, because Satan is envious. He doesn't want you to succeed. So Satan is going to do everything to pull you down. He says, waswasa. So don't allow the whisperings, don't allow the negative thoughts to bring you down. Stay well, look after yourself, stay away from ACE. If you got any of these qualities, then you have got satanic qualities. Do the opposite of this. Stay well, look after yourself. Alhamdulillah.